Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And with this one, I am bringing you another PvP video from the Balanced Druid perspective. This time around, I've partnered up with a Death Knight. This is the composition that I got rank 1 with the first season of Shadowlands. I think I might have been the only boomkin playing this composition at such a high level. We teamed back up again with Zilia and Flark to try out the Death Knight Balanced Druid composition, and it was surprisingly successful considering our gear at the time. And this is a composition that I do want to get back on. I think that this is a composition that you can climb the ladder very rapidly with a pretty straightforward strategy. You're going to run in, you're going to pop the slappy hands, you're going to press all of your cooldowns, and you're just going to watch everybody explode while they can't escape your massive wave of damage. So if you're looking for a composition to give a try, to try and get some rating, to try and get towards some of those transmogs, towards some of those mounts in PvP specifically, I would definitely recommend this composition. I think that it is significantly underrated. I am running the Kyrian Balanced Druid to empower my Necrolord Death Knight during those Abomination Limb windows. Our main goal is to keep dots on every target, Moonfire, Sunfire on everything that's in sight, and to try and run at enemy healers, try and grip targets together and get them locked in stuns and get them locked in solar beams and just completely devastate them with massive amounts of damage. You can see already at the start of the fight, we've gotten almost every cooldown from this poor priest in the back. They're strangulated. They're at like 10%. Honestly, just about to go down. I could have used my stun here on the Feral Druid instead of the priest. Would have honestly been the correct decision here, and this game probably would have been already over. But then so with the video, so maybe it's fine that I made the mistake. I'm playing the long game here for my YouTube channel, I suppose. But you can see right off the bat that you get so much pressure just by being able to get onto a healer, grip targets together, and cleave them down. But once they've survived your Abomination Limb, you're going to want to play defense. So I'm jumping down off the bridge. I'm getting into bear form. I'm trying to avoid the Feral Druid. I'm trying to avoid the Hunter. Make sure that I'm in bear form for the stun lock. And this is where you're going to have to start focusing on coordinating your defensives. So in this position, my Paladin trinkets and uses Blessing of Protection. As I didn't have Bark Skin, I didn't have my own medallion to stay alive. We can use Cyclone to stall the game to try and get to those next burst windows. And it is really, the entire comp pivots around the Abomination Limb. So you want to be communicating that with your Death Knight. When is the Abomination's Limb going to be coming up? Saving your empowerment for that time, although you can use it in between. Here I'm activating it on cooldown because it will be back up and available by the time we have our Abomination Limb. You want to dump all of your Star Surges during this empowerment time, but also not die. Here it's kind of pressured me because the Paladin got interrupted on his heal, so I go for a Cyclone and kind of stop doing damage. Probably would have been just better to save my empowerment there, wait until after being stunned and after I've recovered. Here I use Disorienting Roar and Bash on the Hunter. This is to stop the Hunter from trapping my Paladin, and they want to trap out of CC. So once you see your Paladin stunned, you want to try and CC the Hunter to stop them from chaining that CC. If you break up the chain, you're going to be able to deal with Hunter teams much more easily. Here, we're still keeping dots on every target, just dumping Star Surges to keep our Moonkin aura stacked at 3 for as much as possible, and we managed to kill the Hunter pet amidst all of the chaos, so they're going to have to use their aspect of the turtle just to stay alive. I'm still lobbing my Star Surges at the priest in the back, trying to keep pressure. We use a double Blinding Sleet defensively as my Paladin's in a freezing trap. I'm going to use Regrowth to start healing myself, jump behind the pillar to line of sight the priest, Frenzied Regen, use Thorns as they're both going to connect to me here, Disorienting Roar, and reposition away from them with my Wild Charge coming off cooldown. You do want to utilize the Chains of Ice from the Death Knight and the mobility of the Druid as an advantage in this composition. So the Death Knight will keep everyone moving really slow while you move really fast, and you want to just be taking advantage of that. So if you've been struggling to stay alive as a Balanced Druid, this composition can help you with that because of that Chains of Ice mechanic. Here we see the Hunter diving in for a freezing trap, so we're just going to use Cyclones onto the Hunter. We're going to use our Gladiator's Aegis to try and get some shield effects, line of sight the priest, stay towards the corner, try and make it so the priest always has to move to heal their allies, which is why I'm running back and forth on the bridge. Discipline priests aren't the best mobile healers, and here we're dropping the Abomination's Limb, so we want to use as much damage as we can during this time. We've basically run the priest out of mana, but we're still going to Cyclone. Try to knock out of the barrier. Going to have some backfires using your Typhoon during Abomination Abomination's Limb, wouldn't recommend it. But with that Cyclone on the Priest and my remaining Astral Bar full, I'm just lobbing out Star Surge after Star Surge after Star Surge. I can reload those Star Surges with my Fury of Elune, but now my Paladin's in a trap, so we're going to focus on defense. I'm going to use Disorienting Roar to get into bear form, CC all the targets off myself, jump off the bridge, Frenzied Regen, reposition to my Paladin, who is now no longer CC'd, but still kind of maintain distance away from the enemy attackers. Just let my Death Knight do most of the heavy lifting while my defense is limited with no Barkskin. Your main goal is to kind of just avoidance support to stall the game so that your Death Knight can get to more Abomination Limb windows. You don't want to be too reckless outside of those windows because your kill pressure is going to be much lower. But we've managed to run the Priest out of mana at this point, so we could likely be in a position to close this game out. I'm just lobbing Star Surges at the Hunter, just focusing on maxing out my damage. With the Priest completely out of mana, there's no way they're going to be able to keep handling the pressure. They're not going to be able to keep up, and we are able to kind of just swell and overwhelm them. And this was a game from still earlier on in the season when the gear wasn't its most optimal. I think when the gear actually gets more and more optimal, this type of build is actually going to be better and better, and I'm really excited to try this composition again. So if you want to follow a live long, twitch.tv/Supatease. I'm doing my best to stream there pretty much every day. And if you want to stay up to date with patch changes and news with World of Warcraft so you're ahead of the competition and not missing a beat and don't have to sift through the internet to figure out that, oh, there was a patch change that just nerfed my spec. That's why I'm feeling so bad. Make sure you hit the subscribe button here because that news does come here in real time. So other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I will catch you in the next one.